I'm just arriving here in Wyndham Park, which means one thing, and that's a guided ride. Now, as you heard Mary say, she wasn't planning to come on the guided ride, but now she has this motor assist, she is going to come along. So today we're going to film that ride. We're going to have a look at range. We'll take a look at Boost Bike as a company, what sort of support they give, and discuss how it compares with some of the competition. So we've got Mary has joined us, and today we've got Alison, new rider. Hello. She's come all the way down from Retford, which is good of her. So we're going to have a nice little day out, but you're going to try your new bike, so your new electric conversion. So how did it go? I asked you to go and test it for the day and see how you got on.
It was a bit like, at first, you know, but yeah, works fine. Yeah, brilliant up hills.
So which hill did you go up?
Went up Denton Hill, which is notorious. You know, even our ride leader can't get up it.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, apparently he can.
Or I could.
He could.
She didn't realise you were in earshot there, Grant.
I've never been up it, even, you know, like with previous e-bikes.
Right.
And with this one, I mean, I was huffing and puffing on the lowest ski. I was like, but I got up it.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, we featured that. Wendy and I did the 100-mile ride from Ely, and that was the last hill we featured on that video.
What, Denton Hill?
Coming down it.
Oh my God!
And that's fast enough.
You're mad.
You did really well. So what today we'll do then is we'll keep it set to eco mode for the whole time.
Okay.
And we'll measure how far you go. Now that kit adds about just over 4 kilos to the weight of your bike. How does it feel riding without power?
I didn't notice it at all, to be honest. Well, you don't, do you, after a while? No, it's just like carrying a bag, a full bag. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Right, we better get going then. We'll have a briefing from our team leader. We raised your handlebar height. How's that feeling?
It's so much better.
Is it? Right.
Whereas before I was like that.
Yeah.
And the pressure was on my perineum, and now it's completely on my sit bones.
Oh, good.
So, perfect.
Bit of a headwind out this morning, which means hopefully we'll have a tailwind on the way back. And Mary and I have just been discussing headwinds. She hates them as much as hills. And, and of course, headwind can be worse than a hill because it can go on forever.
Yeah, they're relentless.
But is that kit helping you?
Yeah, a lot.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, I'm still a little out of breath, as you can hear.
Yeah.
But I can feel it's giving me just that little extra push that I need.
Good.
To make me not hate it.
Yeah, and it's probably improving your confidence as well.
Yeah, because headwinds can be so draining.
Yeah. I always say to people though, when they're looking at electric bikes is, you know, if you want it to do all the work, then get a big, heavy, full electric bike.
Yeah, exactly.
Mary is having a day of double discovery because she's using her clipless pedals for the first time. In the past couple of days. She's already fallen off twice, so I've told her that's it, that's the rite of passage past, so we don't want any more falling off.
I've got enough bruises, thank you.
One of the things I like about this display is that it doesn't try to tell you how many miles you're going to have left or kilometres you're going to have left, and I think that's sensible because the system can't possibly know how much power you're going to put in, what the terrain's going to be up ahead, so it can't possibly know how many more miles you've got in it. But this system shows the voltage. So obviously as the voltage drops, it's going to give you an idea of how much more you've got left given the conditions. Now obviously today we've got a fair headwind, so the system cannot know that that headwind is going to drop later, and that's going to give you hopefully a tailwind and more miles. So I think it's a pretty sensible way of doing it. So we're just coming into the village of Marston. We've arranged to meet Wendy here at 10. It's now 10:01, so we've done pretty well. This is about as much of a climb as we have on this route today. It's a fairly flat route, big pothole, but making a difference, isn't it, to you?
Oh yeah, definitely. Whereas with before, the group in front would have left me behind because they're all faster riders. Now I can keep up with them.
Good.
Which is nice, which is what I wanted. I can go out with my friends.
When we talk about rear drive motors and front drive motors, it's quite a divisive subject because it's in the Garmin versus Wahoo type area. You've got people that love one and not the other, and vice versa. I personally prefer a rear mounted drive motor, and that's because that's where you need most traction, there's most weight on the bike, and the frame is built to take a heavier weight. Now front wheel drive is much easier if you have to repair a puncture. You can whip the wheel out much easier. I think that's outweighed by the fact that there is a lot less weight on the front of the bike. The forks aren't built to take a heavier wheel, especially if they're carbon. And if you're in slippery conditions, say in the wet or whatever, you could find the front wheel peeling out. You lose traction and it could slide sideways. Now in truth, most of us won't have that problem, but be interesting to hear your comments because I know we have a lot of front wheel drive users on the channel. So we're hovering between 37 and 38 volts at the moment, and you've done, what was it, 24 miles?
24, yeah.
24 miles. So it's hardly moved. You started at 40 volts.
Yep.
Now as part of any review I check out the company behind the product, and in checking out Boost Bike, the company was formed by Nick Bailey, and he's a mechanical and electronics design engineer, and clearly he's used that knowledge to come up with this system. They started the company in 2021, so it's a fairly young company, but they're already doing very, very well. And what I like about them is that they have a very healthy users Facebook group, and if anyone comes up with a query, something they want improving, they immediately answer. There's none of this hiding away and making your contact details obscure so people can't get hold of you, and it seems a very enthusiastic user group, so I'm impressed with that. I'm always a bit dubious about the claims of companies for, you know, for example, cars on miles per gallon and all this sort of thing. I was equally suspicious when Boost Bike said that you can get 30 miles of town riding on a single charge of the battery. Malk Turner actually said that was very conservative, and he gave me some of his figures. Now, Malk is a strong rider, so I would expect him to get a bit more than the standard because he will be pedalling harder. But we're now 41 miles in on this ride, which means she's just coming up to 40 miles and she's still going. And we'll get her to talk about it at the end, but what I've noticed is she's certainly keeping up with the group, which is something she couldn't have done before. We've actually stretched this ride and it's probably going to be over 50 by the time we get back. It'll be interesting to see how much she's got left at the end. Some of the componentry is sourced from the Far East, as you can imagine. The motors are made in China, but it's with a partner company and it's to their specification. So that's fine. I mean, that's the way most of the cycling industry is these days. But the wheels are sourced in the UK. I did read that they were developing a relationship with Raleigh, and that means that the lead time on the wheels is pretty short, and the wheels are made to order to your specification. Certainly one of my concerns would be if I was dealing with a company in the Far East, for example, is how would it be if I had a problem? How would they deal with warranty and so on? Whereas with Boost Bike, they're in the UK and they're highly responsive. I met up with a chap recently. He was early 70s and he was riding a conversion. The kit he purchased was one of the most popular brands. They're advertising all the time. They're the one where they mount the battery on the handlebar, which just seemed a little bit of an odd place to put it. Their standard battery they advertise at 9 miles range, and their biggest battery, which this chap had got, would only give 18 miles of range, and that meant that with range anxiety he didn't want to go above 15 miles to make sure he had enough charge. Now, I'm always a bit dubious when manufacturers claim that you're going to get a certain mileage. This is particularly prevalent with cars, and especially with electric cars. We've now coined this new phrase of range anxiety, and unlike cars where you may be lucky enough to find a recharge station on your route, cycles aren't the same. Now in France they are starting to put some charging stations in for bikes, but alas not in this country. So it's important you have a bike that you can trust in terms of range, but I think coupled with that it's important to have a bike that you can actually ride if you lose the power. And that's where these conversion kits come into their own, because you are effectively left with your bike, albeit a little bit heavier. One of the things you commented on earlier is that when you were riding, say going down a hill or whatever, and you were faster than the 15.5 miles an hour,
Yeah.
and it cuts out. Describe that feeling.
Well, I go down. I like going downhill anyways, you know.
Don't we all?
And it didn't occur to me that it had cut out until we were going uphill.
Yeah.
It was that subtle. I was like, oh, it went off.
Yeah. And they actually have a term for that. They call it soft cut, so that when the motor cuts out you don't get that clunk. Now I think on your Orbea you did have that clunk.
Yeah, it was really noticeable when it went out.
But
and then you would be pedalling and then it went, ooh, and you'd like, oh, I haven't got assist anymore. With this, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So that was really
it's just
nice.
Smooth, yeah. And for anyone that's picking up the crunching and clunking on Mary's bike, it's her rack.
Yeah.
So it's been a really good ride today, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been good fun. Somebody new in the group, which was nice. See Wendy again,
Yeah.
who I haven't seen in ages.
Well, and the nice thing as well is you and her were able to ride together and have a chat without you struggling to keep up.
Yeah.
You know, because you've got the power.
She's a lot faster than me.
Yeah.
So, oh, my voice
She
is
doesn't
kicking.
think she is.
She is. So whenever we go out, you know, I'm struggling to keep up with her speed.
Yeah.
So,
But you didn't today.
no.
Well, we thought we were going to have a tailwind on the way back, but it switched itself around and we've got a headwind now. It's quite fierce. So although this route hasn't had any climbing to speak of, it's the equivalent of a climb when you consider we're riding into this wind. So 46 miles and you're still on power.
I am.
Fingers crossed it'll carry on until we get back.
Yeah.
Good. I was hoping to see how you got on riding without power, but looks like we're not going to see that.
I can turn it off.
Hopefully. No, let's leave it going. We want to see how far we can get. But you have ridden it without power, and you said you didn't notice a
No, I
great
didn't
deal of
notice it at all.
difference. So
No.
the beauty of this kit is if in the summer you want to do some rides that you're not going to need power, you know, your 20 mile, 30 mile rides or whatever, you can easily just swap that back wheel over and take the battery off.
Yeah.
This is great.
It's perfect for that.
Yeah.
For me, it's ideal. Somebody, you know, that rides and would like the use of an e-bike sometimes, but not others.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So the days you don't need an e-bike, you can actually take off that extra weight that an e-bike would permanently
I
have.
would put on my normal wheel.
Good.
Definitely.
So how are you feeling, Mary? I'm 51 miles in.
I'm feeling it.
Are you?
I'm glad I've got this.
What the power?
Yeah. These last 3 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, my legs are tired.
And the amazing thing is it's still
It's
delivering.
Yeah, it's taking me home,
Yeah,
which is nice.
it is good.
Beep beep. Beep beep. Thank you, lovey.
It should be quite.
Cup of tea, I think.
Cup of tea, lad.
That was terrific. Thank
You
you.
enjoy that?
Really enjoyed it.
Good.
Excellent. Yeah.
We have to do it again then.
Yes.
Yeah, please come.
Now.
Yeah, off you go.
You got me kidding.
Well, I really appreciate you joining us. That's good.
No, it's really nice. Thank you.
Right, Mary, have a look at your watch. Tell us what you've done.
There you go. Can you read that?
51, nearly 52 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's have a look at your power meter. So it's saying you've got 33 volts left.
Shall I press this? Would that help?
Ah, you could have a look, yeah. So you've got 1 bar left on that still, so you've still got,
Enough to get me home.
well, you've certainly got enough to get you home and probably
Yeah.
a bit more. So that means you can do a maximum distance guided ride, which is 50 miles.
50 miles, and that was
with full
quite
power.
a decent
Yeah.
pace.
Now,
so-
obviously, if you've got some hills to go up, then you'd use a bit more power because you'd probably go into a higher mode. But the fact is, we
I
did
don't
have.
know, we had some strong
I was
headwinds.
going to say we had some strong headwinds, which means you would have been.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent to a hill.
Yeah, I was having to push.
So-
yeah.
So the question now, before we end this episode, is: do you think you'll buy it?
You know what, I think I will.
Good.
I wasn't sure at first. I thought,
Do you need it?
do I need it? But after going out with you lot today, I think I do.
Good.
I'm with you. Yeah.
It's well. I think the beauty is as well. It's given you assistance on a bike that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, I love my bike.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
as I said, I can't go out in the group rides, the ones that are above 20 or 30.
Yeah.
And now
And
I
if
can.
if you decide you want to take it off, say for shorter rides in the summer or whatever you
Yeah,
want to do, you
yeah.
can, because you fitted it, so you know how to undo it all.
Yeah.
So good. Well, thanks
Yeah.
very much, Mary.
I should talk to my financial advisor.
Yeah, I'm going to say you better check the bank account first.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think that was a success. It was Wendy suggested that we fit it to Mary's bike, because I said I didn't want to fit it to mine because I wanted it to be somebody that really needed it, and I think you can see there that that's one happy customer. So please comment, and if you know anyone that you think could benefit from this kit, then certainly share the video. At this stage, I don't know if Boost Bike will want to offer any discounts. I don't think they will, because I think it's a pretty sensibly priced kit anyway, but if they do, then I'll let you know. As far as I'm concerned, I get nothing out of this at all, so there's no incentive for me to tell you anything other than the truth. So thanks for joining me. Well, that was due to be the end of the video, but we're a couple of weeks later. It's actually the 9th of October in the UK, and summer's returned. I'm sitting here in short sleeves and I'm wearing sunglasses, not to look cool, but just to protect my eyes. I know some of you will be asking the question, did Mary buy the kit? And the answer is yes, she did. And that's why I'm making this little extra piece at the end, just to let you know. I have to say, Boost Bike were very, very kind. And as a thank you to Mary for appearing in the video, they actually gave her quite a generous discount. So I'm very pleased with that. That's very kind of them. And of course, Mary didn't know that when she appeared in the video, so obviously there was no inducement. And knowing Mary, she'd only say it how it is anyway, so there can be no doubts in that respect. I've been impressed with the company and their relationship with their customers. They have a very healthy Facebook group, And that's made up of users and potential users, and they're often asking questions and suggesting things that could be improved and enhanced. And I have to say that Boost Bike go back every time and give answers, and mostly it's, yeah, we'll take that on board, we'll look at and see how things can be improved. One of the comments people were making was that they thought the motor was a little bit noisy when it was at low speed. And sure enough, Boost Bike gave an update for that. What I like is that when they update something, they're not saying, oh, this is now Mark II and you've got to buy it again. They update the existing product. So I think it's a product that you can buy and be part of it evolving. Also, pricing wise, I think they're being very fair. They're not trying to screw every penny of profit out of this thing. And a good example, I think, is the spare battery that they supply. And that spare battery is half the price of a Marla range extender. Now, the range extender for the X35 system from Marla is slightly different in that it has some electronics in it. Sometimes it needs a firmware update, and that's because it's charging the main battery on the bike whenever the motor's not under load. Now, that makes it quite a complicated system, and I suppose that's how they can justify the price, but it amounts to the same thing. So why not just have the battery expire, it runs out of charge, and just swap it over with another battery? You're still carrying the battery with you, it's just the method of how it works. So frankly, I would much rather just swap the battery over. But as you've seen in this test, Mary, she won't mind me saying that she's an average rider. She doesn't put out a lot of power. She's not out to break any records, but as you saw, even with that stiff headwind, she managed 52 miles. I'm pretty sure that if I was using that kit on her bike, being a stronger rider, I could have probably got 60 or 70. And that's certainly borne out by comments from Malk Turner. Now, of course, Boost Bike are very conservative in the comments they make, and this is why they say 30 miles, because they've got to allow for people that don't even put an average amount of power down. So I like the company overall, I have to say. Now, they are bringing out a through-axle motor and wheel version, and I think that's going to open up the market a lot more. Now, I'm going to be trying this system on my Tempest titanium gravel bike as soon as this through-axle version comes out. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe, and then you'll see when that one comes out. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video and you like this sort of thing, it would help me immensely if you just hit the like button. And I'll say goodbye and look forward to you joining me again in the future. Bye for now.